Kissa Noten. TZAR Boris is obviously not in Warhammer 3. Like, that's just a preposterous proposal. There's absolutely no freaking way Creative Assembly would add a hidden legendary lord for Kislev, and obviously that information would have no chance of leaking to the public a week before the official announcement. TZAR Boris is dead. He was cut down in battle against the forces of chaos and will never be a legendary lord. Stop it. Get some help. Alright, good. Now that we've cleared the air, we're going to Doomstack with TZAR Boris today. I can barely contain my excitement. These intros are getting embarrassing. This video has a preponderance of bears. Kislev. Yes, indeed. Some Kislev campaign action is on the docket, and I'm going to show you guys how to make the most out of the Red Tsar's champions of Ursun, so you can save the bear god's ass and ultimately save the world. But before we jump in, remember this one simple rule when facing down the carnivores of Kislev. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. If it's white, say goodnight. Spoiler alert, they're all polar bears. You're already dead. You just don't know it yet. So you're probably wondering how to unlock TZAR Boris Bokha, because you won't start the game with access to him. And the simple answer is, you must capture the 3 major cities of Erengrad, Prague, and Kislev itself, and hold them for 10 straight turns, at which point you will play one of my least favorite quest battles in the trilogy. Just not a particularly fun scenario, a bit boring. But the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is worth the clunky journey to get there, and once finished, you will unlock Boris for your current campaign, the Ursun Revivalists for a new campaign, and a new start position to go with it. And the Red Tsar will have good relations with his daughter Katerin, some fantastic infrastructure buffs, big bonuses when fighting against chaos, and 50% upkeep reduction to Warbear Riders, which you can pretty easily get down to around 120 upkeep or less. Warbears are sick. They are disgustingly good, especially against some of your main adversaries. They are a new breed of monstrous cavalry, and Boris can bump their combat stats into the stratosphere. But rather than start in the eastern oblast of Kislev, he begins his campaign in the Darklands, north of Zarnagrund, in the mountain pass of Uzkalak. It's a bit barren at the moment, clearly lacking something, like maybe, I don't know, evil bearded Babylonian rage dwarfs, but their time will come, and their replacements aren't much of a threat currently, which is kind of a good thing if you're Boris. Darkland orcs tend to just roll over and die, and because Boris starts with 2 warbears and a low grom cannon, those early fights are pretty lopsided. It's an incredibly defensible start location, especially compared to Kislev itself, and your main enemies are funneled through mountain passes to get to you, and typically won't give you too much trouble until you've established a bit of a power base for yourself. Kugath, Greasus, and especially Kairos will end up being a problem, but if you play your cards right, you can consolidate most of the Darklands before that ever happens. As for his unique skill tree, it's quite strong. He gets up to 61 bonus versus large, and innately has magic attacks with his shard blades, so you can have him soloing Exalted Bloodthirsters in no time, and you don't really have to invest in his yellow line to do it. He buffs both Warbear and Elemental Bear weapon strength by 16%, and gives those single entities regeneration, so even before you get into his red line in the tech tree, they're all hitting super hard and have serious sustainability. He's not all about conquest though. He resettles ruins for free, and builds orthodoxy and garrison buildings faster and cheaper than anyone, so if you need to refortify after the stacks start rolling in, maybe raise a few settlements in your face, he'll get you entrenched and back in action incredibly quickly. In my Katerin campaign where I initially unlocked him, I gave him a half stack of bears and a half stack of Ice Guard, but I decided I wanted to go full thematics for the purposes of this video. So instead, as we plunge into the Mountains of Morn to take on Greasus Goldtooth and the rapidly expanding Ogre Kingdoms who can snowball out of control in Warhammer 3's campaign, we'll have a full army of Warbears, Elemental Bears, and Little Grom Cannons, which are a very useful tool for sieges and minor settlement battles. Before we get into the action though, I want to give you a quick look at Kislev's tech tree, which is very boring in the top half, not much to write home about at all. It's frankly true for a lot of the tech trees in this game. I feel like they've been nerfed a bit compared to game 2, but just like the campaign itself, things start getting real spicy once the 3 major cities are under your control. The bottom half of the tech tree only unlocks once you've taken command of the motherland fully, so confederating your daughter is top priority. Before that happens, your economy is not really anything super special. Once you get Erengrad, Kislev, and Prague, shit starts popping off. Especially with Erengrad, you can get that up to like 5,000 income per turn, which is pretty crazy in Warhammer 3. The big tech to focus on here, though, is called bear baiting, and only becomes available once Kislev itself is part of your empire. I confederated Katerin around turn 100, but I'm quite sure there will be ways to get that done faster. The reward was the crown jewel of the Northern Empire, unification of the 3 major cities, and frenzy for all warbear riders, map-wide, which spells doom for the ogres. Bear riders give Grease's Goldtooth and Scrag nightmares, and if you're playing Boris and planning on ripping out the heart of the Over-Tyrant's empire, this is without question one of the best ways to do it. Let's get into the action. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. Excuse me, I didn't see you there. Welcome, my friends. We got the Doomstack rolling. It's a bunch of warbears, 2 elemental ice bears, 4 little groms, and TZAR Boris the bear. The Red Tsar himself returned from death and ready to slaughter a whole tribe of Goldtooth ogres. I've been looking forward to doing this since Kislev was first announced. And you know what? If you said, "But any pride, Kislev has too many bears. They've ruined Kislev," you're right. Their titties have been flanderized from here to Wage In. But you know what? It's fun as shit. When you've got a whole stack of frenzied polar bears, you're not gonna care. And if you don't want to play that way, and want to rock more thematic gunpowder armies with line infantry, that is perfectly viable. As for me, I'm doomstacking these dudes because they just slaughter infinite stacks of ogres, and we're about to have a huge war with Greases. And Boris, who have not invested into the yellow tree with that at all really, still has 61 bonus versus large, majority AP, got him regen from Seed of Rebirth, so with Fury of Ursun, the Shard Blade slow and DOT, and a whole army designed to melt monsters and monstrous infantry, feeling pretty good about how this should go. But there's some really useful tricks to getting more out of your bear cav, and I'll show them once we get into the battle itself. But their army, they got a bunch of Iron Fists, some Iron Guts, a lot of Noblar Scrap Launchers, pulled by Rhinoxen of course, and a reinforcement army with some Man-Eaters too. So let's get into the battle and see what we can do, shall we? It's a beautiful game, my dude. I am so glad that TZAR Boris is in. I did not think we'd have him. Obviously, I've known he's in the game for a while. I've had the game since January 7th, but super cool to see him here, and his stats are crazy. I mean, he is a monster mulcher. 61 bonus versus large, 66 melee attack, 68 melee defense. That's without really any investment whatsoever. He's got a Seed of Rebirth for regen, Armor of Ursun for even more stats when he drops below 50% HP, which I'm not planning on. Fury of Ursun for more AP and base weapon damage, Shard Blade for slowing stuff in an AoE and dealing a nice DOT, and By Our Blood. This passive is crazy for Kislev. It's kind of cracked. It makes anything that's wavering unbreakable for 30 seconds, which, I mean, I've seen it change the course of battles. Crazy momentum swinger for sure. Now, the regular Warbear Riders, they're anything but regular. 23 bonus versus large, 65 melee attack before Frenzy and all those extra buffs are activated. So they'll be up more like 73, and that's not counting their bonus versus large. Now, the Ice Queen or Ice Witch, Heart of Winter is a nice one. They'll blob up with the ogres a lot, but there's an even more powerful ability here that synergizes incredibly well with how Warbear Riders fight. Crystal Sanctuary. So the way this works is, when you overcast it, it's an AoE, and it gives 60% damage resist, a ward save, flat ward save, to everything in the radius. Now that's huge, because while you can't move with your bear cav, you don't necessarily need to, especially in a minor settlement battle. We're going to be going in and fighting a bunch of ogres at a choke point, so we're going to get them in a nice big fist, blob them up. Not going to be able to move after that initial charge anyway, so might as well pin them down, give them a huge ward save, and let them fight it out with whatever they're scrumming against. Now, the low groms are also really cool. They're surprisingly accurate. It's kind of like a bombard. It's a mix between a cannon and a mortar, but great versus single entities, great versus monstrous infantry. They can be used like chariots too. Their melee stats are not that terrible, but their accuracy is really the kind of thing that impresses me the most. It's only one cannon, but they hit really hard. And once you're out of ammo, you can use them like a chariot. They have 20 bonus versus infantry. So what I think we need to do here at the start is maybe do some insert mode and get some first-person shots in. Make sure we get some good, accurate volleys in before we do that. Maybe kill a few ogres at each choke point, and then we'll think about jumping into the cannons themselves. So I'm not really worried too much about target prioritization at the moment. Any of the monstrous infantry or monstrous cav will be good here. Warnfang cav are probably top priority, so if I can snipe them out, if they come in range, that'd be great. But let me see if I can get a good shot here. Not a bad start at all. So I think that was 2 or 3 models dead with that shot. Now the Nablar scrap launchers are... I'd be way more worried if these were iron blasters. They're kind of terrifying and certainly higher tier than these scrap launchers themselves, who are better suited for killing infantry, and there are no infantry on the field right now. But the ogres can actually upgrade their towers to be scrap launchers themselves. So that's a hefty dose of AP. When my bears get into range, they'll take some losses from those for sure. You also notice in the background there that it's kind of looking Zinchi. That is how corruption works in this game. So both on the campaign map itself and in battle, if a certain area from the rifts, the chaos rifts, the portals that open up, if it shifts the corruption in that region, it will change how the battle map looks. And on the campaign map, you'll see Zinch symbols appear, corn symbols appear, waterfalls will turn red if it's turning cornate, like blood. There's some really cool details like that that you'll kind of get a look at. You might have already seen it actually, but I think my favorite one so far is the Terracotta Sentinels near Wei Jin. They have waterfalls coming out of their mouths sometimes, and if Nurgle takes over the region, then pus will literally fly out of their mouths. Really cool. So low ground will take a little bit of damage from these towers. I'm not exactly sure how accurate they will be. The scrap launchers are not really known for their accuracy. They're more wave clear. Yeah, here we go. They're coming in right now. That's really hard. Landing shots with this thing is not easy in first-person mode. Honestly, would probably be better off just letting them do their thing, but it's just so much fun when I actually land a shot. Let's have the elemental ice bears move up, and we can get some breath attacks in and maybe force a blob here so that the bear cav can plunge in after them. We do have regen on the elemental ice bears, which is amazing. They have massive HP pool, so you give them regen. As long as they're not getting hit by anything with flaming attacks, they're going to be incredibly tanky and resilient in the face of incoming fire. Oh, that was a nasty little shot. Let's pull him back. A little bit too close to the towers. I mean, you can see how much carnage these little grobs have already unleashed. A bunch of units already down to half HP, getting insane value out of each one of these. They are very accurate. Good at sniping single entity monsters, good at sniping monstrous infantry, good at sniping mobile monstrous cav. Anything high value, worth shooting at. The only issue they have is their low ammo, and that can be mitigated with your tech tree and with Boris Ursus's skill tree too. Oh, this could be nasty right here. This could be scrumptious. Did I just nutmeg those more? No, I hit him. I hit him. I was like, there's no way I missed that shot, right? It looked like it went through their legs, but didn't kill them. They must have a lot of HP per model. Because that was a clean shot that hit 2 of them. I thought I went through their legs for a second. Little Ronaldo nutmeg. Alright. Big breath attack incoming. A whopping 1 kill there. Sick. Better versus infantry, as you might expect. As soon as I bust down these little blockades, I think we'll send in the bears. Because that's what you're here for. I mean, the little groms are awesome. The elemental ice bears are awesome, but this is about warbear riders. And that's what this Doomstack is. So, I'll have the Ice Maiden rocking alongside 4 of them on one side, then I'll have Boris and 4 more go in on the other. Maybe get a point-blank shot. Yeah, buddy. That was a triple kill. Mom, get the camera! Mom, get the camera! Another one. Like DJ Khaled. Another collateral. Alright. Let's back up. Dominance asserted. Dry humping that horde of ogres. One more breath attack. Firebelly, you don't want this action. You want none of this smoke, boss. I recommend, yeah, I was gonna say, I recommend you turn around. Didn't do the breath attack. Let's get a point blank one. Don't attack me. I want to get one. I'll take it. Not bad at all. Alright, Firebelly's about to get taken to Pound Town. And I'll let TZAR Boris and the Elemental Ice Bear take the Vanguard. First, onto the Breach. I'm not too worried about TZAR Boris getting taken down here. If he was fully surrounded by Mournfangs, he'd be in big trouble, but barring a weird situation where he pushes way too far in, I believe in his potential. I have a feeling he can kill stuff with 61 bonus for start. What do you guys think? Firebelly melted. Okay. Now is the bear's time to shine. So I'll let them surround the Elemental Ice Bear, and then we'll get the charge in with the War Bears. A little bit too far up with my Frost Maiden. Let's pull her back. So she actually has terrible melee defense. Even on the War Bear, like she'll get dumpstered in pretty short order if she's stuck in with melee. Shardblade popped. Fury of Ursun popped. And what I'm going to try to do here is get a nice Crystal Sanctuary, but honestly, I think maybe it'll be wasted in this fight. No, there's some Iron Guts and stuff in there. Maybe that's not the worst idea to just pop it. And they hit hard. Now, ideally, I'd let my Bear Cab get a little bit more, like, pushed through to get on the other side so we get that full surround off before we pop that word save, but just gonna make sure we use it. That Magical Halberd, I'm not kidding you, dude. I have seen TZAR Boris solo Exalted Bloodthirsters easily without stat bonuses. And not even just in campaign, like in multiplayer too. Like, he's terrifying as a duelist against monsters. Crystal Sanctuary is freezing the bears in the back, so they're not hitting anything. But it's hard to utilize all your Bear Cav in siege battles anyway, just because these choke points kind of make it difficult to flank. And you can't really push through your own troops very well in this game. Like, that's definitely something I've noticed hardcore. Cav in general, difficult time disengaging, difficult time pushing through stuff. Even if you're monstrous, getting through enemy infantry, or especially monsters, is quite challenging. So, not a lot of room to maneuver right now. There will be blobs. Daniel Day-Lewis, his finest work yet. Gonna try to get that flanking charge in here, I think. See if the pathfinding screws me. Try and get a Snow Leopard summon behind their lines. Here come the bears. Bears, bears, bears. The simple bear necessities of life. Through the barricade, okay. Another Crystal Sanctuary. That one will be much better value than the first. Oh, she's getting sniped. Down to half HP. Leave her alone, dude. Bro, look at the stat line of these War Bears, man. 100 leadership, 105 armor, 75 melee attack, 152 weapon strength. Just gross. And they're 120 upkeep. Maybe give them a Frostblades. Heart of Winter Overcast too. Oh, just cancel my melee attack buff. So, one thing you cannot do, I really wish that Frostblades was AoE if you overcast it. It might be OP if you could pair that with Crystal Sanctuary too. That's probably why it's not. When you overcast Crystal Blades or Frostblades, it only gives you more melee attack for one unit. You can't hit a whole blob of Bear Cav with it, which just makes me a little bit sad, but yeah, if you could give them all like 25% extra AP on and 24 melee attack on top of Crystal Sanctuary for that 60% ward save, like, you could literally, even in multiplayer, you'd just be able to blob Bear Cav and win quite a lot of fights. So probably a good thing if they decided not to make that an AoE spell, but I definitely like Lore of Ice more than Lore of Tempest so far anyway, but to be honest, I haven't used Lore of Tempest that much. Just because Crystal Sanctuary is so good with the Bear Cav. And that is a mass route. TZAR Boris about to solo some non-bar scrap launchers. And this war with Greasis is going to get real interesting. Real interesting. Because he's one of the strongest factions on the map currently. But this Doomstack is tailor-made for killing ogres. We ran through them. Get some sexy cinematic shots as your boy Milk and Cookies Total War is known for. Yeah, why are you running? I've said it before, but yo, game's gorgeous. It really is. It's really pretty. And the Doomstacks are coming out to play. There's some crazy stuff on the way, my dudes. A lot of good content. But if there's something specific you guys want to see, leave it in the comment section below. Kislev embargo is dropped, and we can play up to turn 100 now, so I can show you a hell of a lot of stuff. Whatever you guys want, really, as long as it fits into my schedule and what the rules are for the embargo, we can make it work, baby. It's only the first step in a what will probably be a very long war with Greasis, but it's a good first step, and it's a full stack and a half dead and gone, and amazing damage value on the bears, as you'd expect. The little Groms especially. MVPs that game, honestly. Better than the Bear Riders. 2,500 damage value on a few of them, and TZAR Boris with 1,500 himself. So I am having a blast with Kislev. I think it is one of the best campaigns in the game, especially once you confederate Katerin, get Kislev, Prague, and Arengrad under your control, and the demonic invasions start coming in, and you've got two fronts, one in the Darklands, one in the heart of the Motherland itself. Really interesting scenarios there, and if you guys want to see more of this, we'll see what we can do, but it'll be easier once the embargoes are fully dropped for everything, and there's no longer a turn limit, because we're past turn 100 now. But hope you guys enjoyed. Lots more content coming very soon.